Hello there guys, and welcome to my tutorial on how to implement the Steam Advanced Session plugin into the MBLS product. Alright, so the first thing that is good to know for this tutorial is that both this link that you're going to need and this documentation link for the online subsystem Steam of the Unreal Engine page are down in the description. So, okay, let's get started. So, first of all, why do we use the Steam Advanced Session plugin? Well, ever since 4.26 switched to 4.27, the default online subsystem does not work with Steam anymore out of the box. So because of that, we have to make use of a third-party plugin, and the one that is free and available for the community is the Advanced Session plugin. So the first thing we're going to do is actually, when you get the MBLS project, we have to set some of the files in here that you can find in the config and then the default engine ini files. So this little notepad here, if you just expand it a little bit, then first of all, we have to configure this a little bit so that it supports the Steam Online Subsystem. So for that one, we're going to this link for the Online Subsystem Steam on the Unreal Engine documentation page. And all we have to do is scroll all the way down until we get to this part. So you see finished settings. Here you can simply go ahead and select all of this code, Control copy, then go over into your default engine ini file and just enter here on the bottom, add it there, hit save, and then you can close it. That's it for this page. Now we can go ahead and close this page. All right, so at this point, we simply have to download the Advanced Session plugin. Previously, you could simply go to their GitHub, and then here at Master, you could then download the latest version, but the Unreal Engine 5 version is not there yet. So in this case, we're going to go to their actual website, which is this link here. So it's this link over here. And then over here, you see Advanced Session plugin 5.0 release. So we're going to click that. And here in the top right, we're going to hit download. Takes about a second or five, and then we can drag it onto our desktop. At this point, we can close this website as well. I'm simply going to minimize it. Yeah, and this gave us the zip file. Here we can actually go ahead and extract the zip file here. There we go. Then the first thing you're going to have to do is inside of the MBLS project. So simply find your folder and go inside that project. Right click and click folder. Here you can type plugins. And then if you open that folder up, then here we can look at what they got over here. So this example blueprint stuff, you don't need that, so you can delete that. This advanced session stuff, that's what you need. So here you will find advanced sessions and advanced Steam sessions. So for both of these, we can simply just drag them into this plugins folder over here. So to do that, simply select them, drag them in over here. All right, now they will be detected by our project. So at this point, we can simply double click the project. As you see, it will start up. There we go. In the bottom right, it then says new plugins are available. So you can then click on manage plugins. What you can also do, if that pop-up doesn't appear for you, is here in the top left, go to edit, then over here, select plugins. Let's make this window bigger. And over here, we then see the Advanced Session plugins, and we both see the advanced one and the advanced Steam one. So the Steam one is the one that we need in this case. And as you see, they're turned on by default. So yeah, if they are not turned on by default, make sure you turn them on. Okay, at this point, we're simply going to replace some of the nodes that we use from the default online subsystem that our engine gives us. We can find this if we go into widgets, and then if we go into main menu. Then first of all, we have to change the host game node. So over here, go into the host game menu, dock this one to the top, go over to the graph, and over here we see the default create session node that our engine gives us. So this one we're going to now replace with the advanced session one. So if you right click and simply type in create session, then you will now see this is the default one. Here you see the advanced session one. So hit that one. And now we're simply going to get rid of this one and fill this one in. So a cool trick here to use. Actually, let's put this to the side a little bit like this, because it's a bit in the way. So a cool trick here to use is that you can hold Control on this wire and then left click. Then we can plug this into use LAN. So simply hook it up where we previously had it as well. So public connections goes into public connections. The execution wire into the execution, the on failure in the on failure, on success. Oh, sorry, I got this from the wrong one. Well, on success into the create loading screen. And then the player controller over here, we are going to plug into the player controller. At this point, this one is no longer hooked up to anything, so we can then delete it. And then you can install the node in here. And yeah, perhaps you have to move this stuff down a little bit. All right, so that's it for the hosting. So everything is hooked up, as you see. So this plugin does give us a lot more options here. So you can play with these options. You can read their documentation and figure out what kind of session options you want. But for this to work, this is all you need. So now we hit compile, save. Then we have to do the same in the find session nodes. So in this project, we have the server browser. And then in the server browser, we have the server item. So the only one that we have to go into is our server browser. Let's dock this one to the top. Here we go over to graph. And then here we see this little macro called find sessions. And over here we have this find session node. So here we're going to do the same. We're going to type in find sessions. Find sessions. And then we want the advanced one again. So this one. Find sessions advanced, and we're going to do the same that we just did. So hold control on this wire and plug it into this one, plug the max into this one, player controller into this one, execute here, on failure here. Oh, now I do it again. On success here, and the array we're going to simply plug into here as well. Okay, now this one is no longer hooked up as well, so we can then replace it with this. Put this a little bit to the left here. All right. And as you see, you could make this look a bit nicer, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to leave it like this. All right. Yet again, here we have a couple of more options. So you can play with these options depending on what you need for your project. But just keeping it like default and hooking up the ones we hooked up is enough. So now we can go at compile and save. All right. That's it for that. Then the last thing you have to do is that you have to convert your project into a hybrid project. So that means it can also use C++. So the way to do that is that we have to add a C++ class to the project. So to do that in our Engine 5, you click here on Tools, and then you can click on New C++ class. Then the default settings here are fine, so you don't have to change anything. Simply click Next. And my class is a good name as well. So simply hit Next again, create class, There you go, it's now converting our project. Project now includes sources. Please close the editor and build from your IDE. So at this point it says we are now a hybrid project, basically. Close the editor and then build from IDE, which means Visual Studio. Successfully added a class. You must recompile the module before it will appear in the content. Would you like to edit the code now? If you hit yes, it will open up Visual Studio. Okay, so a little correction. So when it tells you to open up a Visual Studio there, then the first thing you have to do is actually close your editor here, because your editor cannot be open at the point that we try to build it from the editor. So at this point, once your editor is closed, we can then open up this SLN file, which is the Visual Studio one. Over in Visual Studio, we are then going to click here. Make sure that we have selected Development Editor and over here Windows 64. Then you can go ahead and click on your project, right click and select Build. This should only take a couple of minutes. What this is doing right now is that it is recompiling your project so that it actually has the plugin implemented and that everything from the plugin works correctly. All right, and then after some minutes, for me it took only like around 1 minute, then it will say build 1 succeeded, and hopefully it will say nothing failed for you as well. And once that's done, you can simply go ahead, close the project. And there you go, then everything works. Your project will then look like this. You can then go ahead and test it. So for this to work and for you to be able to test with Steam, you have to make sure that Steam is online. So make sure that when you start Steam, that you see that you're actually properly logged in. Some other things to take into account is that when testing, you have to make sure that you test with different types of Steam accounts. So test with a friend, for instance, that has a different Steam account as well, or yourself on 2 different computers. So you cannot be with the same stuff on the same computer. You have to have 2 different computers with 2 different Steam accounts. And the last thing to take into account when testing with the development ID for Steam, so that's what we configured here in the default engine ini file, then you can only test with people that are in the same country as you. So in America, I believe they have to be in the same state, and in Europe, for instance, they have to be from the same country. So if I'm from the Netherlands, the one I'm testing with also has to be from the Netherlands. All right, then when Steam is up and running, go ahead and open up your project. And then to make sure that Steam is working, we're going to click here on the three little dots, and then we're going to select standalone games. So Steam only works in standalone. So make sure you hit that. It will then start up. And here in the bottom right, we're going to look for Steam to pop up. So once this is started like this, here you go. Steam now pops up. And at this point, you can then do Shift Tab to get the Steam overlay. And as you see, all of this is working and Steam is now correctly implemented. All right, guys. So that's it. That's how you can implement the Advanced Session plugin for the MBLS UE5 project. I hope you guys enjoyed this and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.